top 6 work? Well, if you come first and second seed, guess what? You get a bye in the top. So you can seats 3, 4, 5, and 6 all going to play one extra round to try and get into the top 4 to play out to see who is going to walk away with that prize money. As just a sleep out, it's queued up. Here is the legacy seat. Travis Williams, we've seen him already against Connor Nielsen on Naya Depths. Talk to me about Naya Depths and how this deck works.
So Naya Depths, some people confuse it with the lands deck, but they're quite different decks. It's actually more of a Net of the Reliquary deck meets Dark Depths deck in general. I would say in this matchup, Depths tends to be favored, but it depends a lot on how Travis has constructed his deck as well. Brazen Bar, really important card, but also spot removal for the Elvish Reclaimer and Knight of the Reliquary matter a lot.
So sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. Obviously, what you missed was the best monologue ever to happen on Twitch in between the slides there. But unfortunately, you guys can hear it at home, so you're going to have to take it for granted. That I definitely did. But we are going to see Connor versus Travis here. Naya Depths versus Grixis Delver. Connor off to kind of a semi-explosive start here. What's the key cards that we're looking for? What's the combo, so to speak, if there is one?
So the namesake Dark Depths plus Thespian Stage allows you to make a Merit Wage once you have 2 mana sources plus Stage plus Dark Depths. Yavimaya often lets you cheat on that mana requirement, but generally, like, once the Merit Wage is out for a Grixis style deck, it's very, very difficult to get out of that.
Okay, we're going to see this Delver flipped, revealing a Lightning Bolt on top of the deck. That's going to get drawn for Travis here. No red mana currently, and I don't see any land in hand besides a Wasteland. How big is that card in this matchup?
It's very important, but in my experience, it's actually better to sit on the Wasteland in this matchup instead of try to aggressively Wasteland. Here specifically, if you went after one of Connor's lands, Connor would just activate Elvish Reclaimer, sacrificing the land you target with Wasteland. What you want to do is leave the Wasteland in play for as long as possible, and then when they go to use Stage to copy Depths, you let the copy resolve. Connor's then forced to choose which Dark Depths to pick because it's legendary. He'll keep the staged Depths, and then you Wasteland it with the Create a Merit Wage trigger on the stack.
Interesting. Again, these like high level details that really matter in the game of Legacy. So vast, so detailed. I did watch a game recently. I don't think it was Naya Depths. I think it was Turbo Depths, which we will talk about all the different variants potentially at some point, where they got Turn 1 Blood Mooned against a initiative deck, and then they were able to just kill the, played it, killed the Blood Moon effect, got a 20, and I went, oh my god, that's so sane. And since then, I've been fully into Legacy, and I love all the interactions. We're seeing this super powerful magic play out. We're going to add a Dragon Rage Channel to the battlefield. That one is going to be a 1-1, just a couple of instances in the graveyard. And here, end of turn, Connor is going to sacrifice one of these lands. So do you think we're just going to go straight up for the combo here, or do we get, what other sort of lands?
It depends on what land is in Connor's hand, but actually, I think Travis has him fully covered because I saw a Wasteland plus a Brazen Borrower. Also, he has a Snuff Out to kill the Reclaimer because that's just pay for life, kill the Reclaimer. He waited for Connor to activate because there's Sejiri Step in the deck. If you just like do it immediately, he'll just go get Sejiri Step, protect the Reclaimer. So basically, this all works out really well for Travis. The Brazen Bar covers him versus Merit Wage, even if Connor has the land to activate. Specifically, if you have, any land would do it, but the Lage is not safe here. It would just get bounced by Petty Theft.
I think that was a crack off the top, so that will give us a land drop for turn if we want to do that. It's not. We're gonna
No, I think it was second Dark Depths.
Oh,
which is like one of what? Yeah, it's something else.
It might be a Minsk and Boo. I'm trying to see if I can get the deck list up to just confirm that they've got them in the deck. Bear with me, ladies and gentlemen. But we are back at obviously on Travis' side. I say sitting on this Petty Theft, knows that is the card that they need in case a 2020 token does hit the battlefield, because maybe it does have indestructible keyword on it. Plus, Travis does not play 20 points of burn that could go. You take it out even if they wanted to. Here comes the Lightning Bolt. Surveil Trigger. Going to keep that on top. I think that card stayed, or did it? I can't quite make that out. But nevertheless, some damage is going to turn souls here. Do we have Delirium? Instant land. sorcery. Are we missing creature type?
Yeah, looks like we're missing creature. It's instant land sorcery.
Okay, cool. So it's just the 4 damage is going to come across here. Kind of chip away at Connor's life total. This is exactly what the Delver deck wants to be doing, but 1 card left in hand as that Wasteland is now on the battlefield. Do you like firing off here, or are we going to keep it up for the Petty Fest? Oh, this answers my question, but would you have done that like this?
I think here it's safe to do that. The cards that you get punished for doing there are not generally castable from Naya depths in that position. Generally, crop rotation is a punish, but all Connor's colored mana was tapped, so it's a good time to actually take the Wasteland. And now that you have the Petty Theft, you're covered versus Age, so just cutting them off mana is going to win a lot more games.
Okay, we're going to turn these overs again. Now 4 points, dropping kind of down to 9 life. Does have and Wasteland off the top. That's huge there for Travis against this last deck. Here comes the Windswept Heath. Kind of working on his outs. He does have a Minx Gamboo in hand, a crop rotation, and a redundant Dark Depths. Obviously, that is a legendary land.
So
Travis kind of think.
the turn that Connor played the Reclaimer, we could have immediately followed up by playing Depths to keep it safe from Lightning Bolt. I'm not sure if you actually want to do that, but that was something I was thinking about. Because it would Legend Rule yourself, you would get a 3rd land in the graveyard, and the Reclaimer would be a 3/4.
I think Travis is going through trying to get a Survey trigger here to try and make that Dragon Age Chandler slightly bigger. Looks like what they are going to do. So here we're going to try and bounce the Mox, trigger the Survey. I mean, it's still just a 1/1 currently, only 3 types in the graveyard. Connor is going to, in response, float green. We're going to then use the crop rotation, get rid of the the Dark Depths. See what you get. 2 is up here. Remember, this is a super powerful 1-drop green. Part of its cost is you've got to sacrifice the land, but you do get to toot your deck for any land and put it into the battlefield. And okay, it's just giving me a stage here. So we know we've got the redundant Dark Depths in hand. Is this kind of a window here for Connor now that the Petty Theft, so to speak, has been used, or is this 1 Wasteland on the other side good enough to kind of hold off, fight that fight?
The Wasteland's good enough, unfortunately, for Connor.
Let's see how we want to go about it. I think they're just talking about this is a team event, ladies and gentlemen. If you do see these players talking to the right and left, it's not because they're going a little bit crazy with too much magic. It is because this is a team trios event. 25k SCG, Pioneer seat, Modern seat, and we are watching the Legacy seat as now Travis starts resolving the Survey trigger. He's going to keep it on top, and then that's going to go back to hand. That's how that works. Well, they're done. It is now on an adventure as we get to untap, but we wanted this card, so it's got to be a good one if we're drawing it. What is it, Travis? You're going to show us? Nope. We're going to turn everything sideways. It kind of drops to 5.
Oh, it's another Wasteland.
Oh, it just hurts to watch. Wasteland this, sure. Pass the turn. Just a fetch land in play here for Connor. 5 life. If he cracks it, he drops himself to 4, and there just happens to be 4 power on the other side of the battlefield. I think that's a green Sun Zenith drawn for the turn. I'm not a Legacy expert, but I'm pretty sure there's no outs here. Tell me I'm wrong.
I think basically Naya Depths is dead. This is a good example of how Delver can win the matchup by taking advantage of the inherent clunkiness of the Naya Depths deck and just sort of get under them and, stop them from doing anything real.
I think Connor is also trying to work this out. That if I send Zenith here, if I fetch, go down to 4, Zenith for 1, can I have a blocker? No, he's worked out the math. It's not going to be good enough. He is going to scoop it up, and we are going to get a game number 2 from both these players here. If you just tuning in, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We have got 8 rounds of action for you here today, live at the SCG. My name is Will Hall. I'm joined by Jarvis Yu and Jarvis. Sideboarding. You've played a lot on this Delver side. What sort of cards do you tend to have in your sideboard that you want to be bringing in this matchup, or is it's just too good because you've already got things like Wasteland in the main?
Any sort of bounce spell like Brazen Borrower is super helpful. If you have something like Submerge, it's pretty good. I generally play Grafdigger's Cage, which is good in this matchup because it shuts off Zenith, but I'm not sure if Travis has it. Oh, let me check real quick, actually.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get the deck list up as well so we can have a better understanding of what's going on. If both these players. Remember, if you are just tuning in, I need you to hit that follow button. Okay, if you enjoy Paper Magic and you enjoy this coverage, and we can all agree, look at the multiple cameras that are going off right now. Look at the quality, the sponsors, everything that's been brought together. This is a one-man band bringing this together. So please do what you do. Just watching supports the stream. Following helps it even more. Twitch Primes help a little bit more than that. And on top of that, if you want to subscribe and help this and you bring more coverage to you, please do. Because I don't know about you guys at home, but I love watching Paper Magic. If you can't tell by the enthusiasm in my voice, week in, week out, if I'm part of it or not, I'm always watching Magic. It's the key part of this, right? We've got digital Magic, that's great, but you can't miss your triggers of digital Magic. You don't get the reaction of players' faces, you don't get the feel of shuffling cards. Here on this channel, you get all of that. As you see, both players queuing up. And I'm going to pass it back to Jarvis to talk to us more about the sideboarding aspects of this on the Delver side.
I think the weakest card, actually, might be a surprise to a lot of y'all, is I think Orcish Bowmasters is one of the weaker cards in this matchup. Naya Depths, sure, it can draw cards off Mix and Boo and Sylvan Library, but I don't think that's really how you want to approach the matchup. In addition, I did see that Travis had Surgical in. My issue with Surgical in the matchup is that's often trying to herd the horse back into the barn after it's been let out. Like, basically, if they get to make the Lage, that's going to kill you often enough that I don't really want to have Surgical in my deck.
Okay, fair one. So what about on the other side? You know, what do we need to do as a depths player? What cards have we got for this matchup in particular? To try, because Delver is quite a popular deck, right? Like I imagine they know at some point they're going to be playing against Delver. What's the cards that they tend to bring in or have for this matchup?
In general, when I played Naya Depths a lot, I would try to lower my curve. I tried to get cards like Pyroblast into my deck and Endurance. Basically, I want to keep them off Murktide Regent. I want to make the game last a long time, so it is safe to make the Dark Depths, or it is safe to just attack them with like 7/7 Knight of the Reliquaries.
Well, we see Swords to Plowshare and Prismatic Endings in hand, along with a Minx and Boo. I'll talk to you about that D&D factor later on if it ever gets cast, plus a bunch of land. But Connor doesn't like it. He's throwing it back. To me, I'd think, I got 2 removal spells there, an end game threat, and land to play them all. Why would we be throwing it back? Maybe there's some more key cards. Maybe he needs an explosive draw. Is that what he's kind of digging towards?
Yeah, that's interesting. I think I would have also been inclined to keep because it has the density of removal and mana, but I'm not sure. We'll see what Connor's plan is.
Yeah, we're going to get another fresh look. So let's talk about Travis's hand. Looks like we've got a couple of land, 2 threats plus some counter magic. Only thing I think missing from this hand. Oh no, I was about to say it's wasteland, but it looks like there is also a wasteland in this hand. This looks good for me. What about you?
Let's see. Yeah, looks pretty good. Yeah, yeah, that's a Scalding Turn. That's an excellent hand.
Yeah, that's when we've got mana to cast both of our threats. We've got counter magic for 2 counter spells, plus a way to dig through, plus some sort of land destruction. Seems pretty good, but Connor is on the play. Let's see. We kept our 6. If we can get a super explosive turn here, we're going to start off with a Tiga. I believe that is going to produce a red and green. What kind of one of the not expensive quote unquote lands in this format when it comes to legacy? What are we going to do with the mana though? Do we have a turn 1 play? Looks like we do.
Looked like a Reclaimer to me, yeah.
Yep, Reclaim is going to come down. Again, this one sees a lot more play in Legacy in these sort of decks than it does potentially in Modern. It's dabbled a little bit in Modern, but this is the format kind of where it's found a shell that sticks around with it. Because obviously, just turn 1, great. Turn 2, I can start activating 2 and through my deck. Turn, X, it will also be a threat in itself because it will get +1/+1. But for that to happen, it does have to hit the battlefield, and it is not in this instant. It is going to eat a force of me, and that's going to send it to the graveyard. Now, how is Travis going to respond here? Do you like starting with a Delver or a Dragon Rage Channeler if you have the option?
Given the hand, I think you should fetch Volcanic Island, play DRC, play Bauble to Surveil.
Travis that's step 1. Let's see if he follows the next 2 steps in line with the one and only Jarvis U. That's step 2. Now this is the big one. Is it going to be a Dragon Rage Channeler? DRC, super powerful 1-drop, sees a lot more play in this format than it does in Modern. Or is it going to be Delver of Secrets? It's going to be Delver. What do you think about this, Jarvis?
Mm, I
Mm,
I think the other line is slightly better, mostly because I think there's a potential you get delirium as well. Also, it I don't know. I just intuitively think that generally DRC is better on turn one when you have the bobble to play than the Delver, but you
maybe we'll,
can use a bobble trick here to bobble yourself. If it's not an instant or sorcery, you draw that first with the bobble trigger during your upkeep. Then if the spell underneath that is an instant or sorcery, it will flip.
I
But
get you.
um yeah, I'm not sure. It's kind of interesting. I'm sure Travis has something in mind here.
So what maybe this is the creature who'd rather throw under a removal spell if there was going to be one from Connor or something along those lines. It looks like it is not going to flip, just another bauble on top. So we do have the 1/1. I believe that's the an alternate art Sylvan Library on the other side.
It
I
is.
think. Talk to me about this card, and like it's got a unique text on it that we don't see printed anymore, right? Or like how it's worded of what it does.
Yeah, it's kind of a disaster of a card in terms of design. Um, the original wording actually was like 0:, like do a bunch of stuff in like fourth edition. You don't really see cards like that anymore because they're um
Powerful,
or
very
well,
powerful.
messy design is the best way of putting it, I think. But here, I actually am low on it in this matchup because generally I think the games where you're allowed to pay life to draw cards versus Delver as depths, you're winning by so much anyways. In my opinion, Sylvan Library is at its best versus decks that have Swords to Plowshares.
So yeah, so in our upkeep, we get to look at the top 3 cards, and we can draw up to 3. But each card, besides the first one we draw, it does cost us an extra 4 life, so it's not free, unfortunately. So maybe it's just a way for Connor to kind of manipulate the top of his deck. Ideally, in control matchups, it's great. You just pay the life, draw extra cards. That's awesome. This matchup, when they're trying to pressure your life total, not as good as Connor decides to agree, pitting 2 back on top, just drawing the 1, plays his land for the turn, and then just passes it back. Travis, drew another fetch land off the top. Got a couple more threats in hand, but very interaction light, I would say.
Yeah, this is a dangerous situation for Travis. The fetch land plus the Delvers is actually going to give a lot of miniature selection next turn. And I think that's what I would expect to see happen.
Here comes another Delver, applying more pressure to the battlefield. Does mean we don't have the bounce effect, but again, no way to kind of combo this turn, right? We need to be able to. Is it 3 land to combo off or 4 land? What's the minimum amount of land that needs to be on the battlefield for Connor to
Three
be able to combo off?
three is minimum, but that's with Dark Depths Stage and Yavimaya, because then Yavimaya allows the Dark Depths to tap for green. Normally it doesn't. Sometimes you can speed it up with a Mox time in, so you can go like you can have Mox Stage, Depths, and another mana producing land.
So that's again on Travis' side, knowing the game plan, knowing what the other deck's doing, knows it's almost safe there to. I say tap out. We're not tapped out, but quote unquote, potentially we're tapped out slightly here, as in we're not going to get cracked back for a sweet 20 points of life. Just a Dryad Arbor is going to come down for the turn for Connor. Potentially that could be a blocker because remember creatures on the other
Ooh.
side were going to be a 1/1, but they're not now. That all these Delvers are both going to flip into 3/2 flyers. Plus, we get to draw a lightning bolt. That's great against a Dryad Arbor on the other side, and could give us the. Are we missing one creature type? One type in the graveyard. Enchantment. Wrong. Artifacts, land, instant. I think we've got in the
Yes.
graveyard.
So if we
Think
hit creature or sorcery, but
we
we
do not.
didn't.
But it's still 7 points damage coming across.
Yeah.
Connor looks like he's got a response. Talk to me about this. This is kind of one of the different things we see in Legacy, right? Is the really cheap, super
Mhm.
powerful interaction like this one here. Talk me through this.
I mean, Pyroblast is a really good card. It counters Force of Will. It kills a blue creature for 1 mana. It kills Murktide Region for 1 mana. It is one of the reasons I think that Murktide Region is a lot more tolerable in Legacy than as opposed to Modern. Because once you get Murktide to 7/7 in Modern, it's basically untouchable by most things besides Solitude. But in Legacy, you know, all of the red decks can have access to Pyroblast if they want to, and that is a really, really just clean, efficient answer to things.
Yeah, that's exactly why I wanted you to kind of, it sounds quite easy and simple. And like, why am I asking this question? If if you're a legacy, player and you've seen this interaction a lot, but people coming across from like, Arena, Pioneer, just getting into the IC formats, maybe picking up on Modern, we don't see this card, all these sort of levels of power from cards, where we do see it a lot in Legacy. Just one mana being able to either counter a spell or destroy a spell. It's super powerful and super kind of relevant, especially if it kind of does eat, saving a little bit of life. Here comes another bauble. That does pick creature into the graveyard, though. So now we've got a couple more free-powered creatures on the battlefield. These are going to get turned sideways. Kind of looks like they're taking it, so he's going to be dropping down to 5. And with the threat of that Brazen Borrower getting flashed in end of turn, this could be lights out for Connor, and it is. It looks like he's going to scoop him up, as we say here. And congratulations to Travis taking that game down 2-0. Is that kind of how you thought that matchup would pan out in the end of it?
I think given how Travis drew pretty well in game 1, and that game was also kind of a slaughter. I think generally speaking, I would prefer to be on the Naya depth side, but it's not a landslide by any stretch of the imagination. I think there's a lot of room to sculpt your game plan with the cantrips and the Delver deck as well. Find the Wastelands, find the Brazen Borrowers, and it kind of looked like that Travis knew what he wanted to pursue in those games.
Yeah, and that's going to be that for this team. So welcome, ladies and gentlemen. If you just tune in, this is the end of round number 2. But don't worry, there's 8 rounds of action for you all here. We've gone through 2 of them. My name is Will Hall. I'm joined by Jarvis Yu. We're going to have a real short break while we sit the players down. Then Anu will come back, talk to you what's going on this weekend, tell you the structure, tell you the prizes, tell you the sponsors, and then we'll get straight into round number 3. So make sure you stick around, and we'll see you all shortly.